Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel where we learn together, take action together, and reflect together. My name is Tamira and thank you so much for being here. Today we will be talking about my reflections on the past year and how they are shaping my vision for 2025. For me, this isn't just about checking off goals. It's about exploring what worked, what didn't work, and the lessons that I have gained along the way. So if you're looking for inspiration or practical tips on how to reflect on your year and effectively plan for 2025, then hop in the car and let's ride. Okay, so for me, this process started with watching my 2024 vision board video from January and my 6-month check-in video from June. If you are new here and want to see the whole process from January to June to December, then watch these two videos. I'll link them in the comments. The tracker that I used from January through September is what you see on the screen here. I used this tracker to break down, monitor, and measure my goals, which gave me clarity and a sense of direction. However, in October, I shifted from relying on this tracker to relying solely on my calendar to keep up with my progress. And this change was intentional because what I have learned is that my goals are achieved based on the time that I dedicate to them, and documenting everything in my calendar just felt more efficient, and it gave me a clearer visual representation of how I was spending my time. But when it came time to reflect on the whole year, reviewing my calendar alone was not enough. And so I found myself manually going back through weeks of entries in my calendar, counting hours, and piecing together efforts like how many races I ran or how many times did I volunteer. And so what this showed me was that while the calendar is excellent for time management and a visual overview, a tracker is far more effective for organizing the numbers, the quantitative data. And so moving forward, I plan to continue using my calendar to manage my time and document my daily actions and tasks. And I also regularly transfer data from my calendar to my tracker, maybe every 2 weeks or monthly. Another way I reflected this year was to look at some of the journal entries that I wrote, which provided a really rich qualitative perspective, and it captured my emotions and thoughts throughout the year. Unlike the tracker, which is used for metrics and numbers, and the calendar that is used for management, my journal gave me anecdotal insights like personal stories, which gave me a deeper understanding of not just what I accomplished, but also how I achieved it and how I grew along the way. It offered a more holistic view, if you will, of my progress and the journey that brought me here. So, watching my January and June videos and reading some of my journal entries gave me a clear understanding of the progress that I had made and where I fell short. And so now I'm going to use my 2024 digital vision board to discuss my accomplishments, my challenges, and the adjustments that I'm going to make for 2025. So the title of my vision board for 2024 was Execution. Each square represents a goal that aligns with my beliefs, my values, the person that I'm becoming, or just the lifestyle that I want to live. Each square represents an area in my life that needs consistent, focused, and disciplined execution. The first square represents my education firm, the Knowledge, Action, and Reflection Institute, or the CAR Institute for short. I set a goal to consistently post videos, send my newsletter, and continue to create and develop programming and content. And so I am proud to say that I posted 18 YouTube videos, I sent 25 newsletters, and I wrote 34 blog posts. Seeing these numbers just reminds me of the power of consistency and focus, which are two words on my vision board. And this achievement is just a testament of what is possible for me when I stay committed to my goals. It is one of my proudest moments, my proudest accomplishments this year. Each piece required significant time, effort, and creativity, from brainstorming and planning to designing, writing, editing, producing. All of my content creators out there, teachers, designers, you know exactly what I am talking about. And so for 2025, I want to post at least 24 YouTube videos, send 30 newsletters, and write at least 40 blog posts. I've already started planning my content calendar for the first quarter, and I have started refining my systems to make sure that everything is in place so that I can meet these goals. This is a picture of my bookcase suite in my home office. I set a goal to read more this year in 2024, and I am very proud of how much I read. A lot of people think that I have always been an avid reader, but that hasn't always been the case for me. And this year I read at least 20 books, which really feels like a huge win for me. And for 2025, I don't have a set number of books that I want to read for 2025, but I do want to dedicate at least 4 to 5 hours per week to structured reading. And what I mean by structured reading is like I'm reading to learn, reading to study, reading to actually apply. It's educational text, if you will. This square represents language practice. I set a goal to improve my communication skills and become more articulate. And so far this year, I have reviewed an average of 47 vocabulary words daily. And in 2025, I want to average 60 English vocabulary words daily. I also set a goal to improve my Spanish speaking skills. I completed 526 Duolingo lessons and finished reading my first book in Spanish. And this year, I plan to practice for 200 days on Duolingo, and if I do 4 lessons a day, that will be 800 by the end of the year. I also plan to read 2 books in Spanish. This square represents becoming an organized person, both in my home and in my digital space. Organization brings me peace, y'all. It brings me peace, mental clarity, and it just makes life, or just makes living life easier for me. And this year in 2024, I made a lot of progress organizing my digital space and my wardrobe. I am not done yet, but by the end of the year, I will have organized my notes app, my photos, and my Google Drive. I will also have uploaded all of my clothes to my digital catalog, and 2025 will just be about maintaining the organization so that I can just continue to have peace and clarity, mental clarity, physical clarity in my mind and in my home. And so my plan to meet this goal is to just schedule weekly organization sessions just to stay on track and stay on top of everything. This square represents my love for running, which helps me stay physically and mentally fit. My goal in 2024 was to run a registered race every month and to participate in my second half marathon. But child, listen, what I can say is that I ran consistently this year. I really did, logging over 400 miles, but I did not complete as many races as I had planned. I think I may have done like 6 out of 12. And I didn't run a half marathon because I just didn't want to dedicate the time that's required to train, for one. It's just a lot, mentally and physically, when you're training for those distance races. And in 2025, my goal is to log 12 miles weekly, which will put me at 624 miles for the year. And I'm not going to set a goal around running any registered races, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to run a few. In fact, I have one coming up at the end of January 2025. This square represents mental health, mindfulness, spirituality, wellness, and wholeness. I set a goal, or it's just a lifestyle, to always be working on strengthening my relationship with God, praying, meditating, practicing yoga, and ensuring that my mental and emotional health is top tier, okay? Because if I don't, none of this other stuff matters. In 2024, I prioritized my mental health and my emotional well-being. I spent a lot of time outdoors. I practiced yoga regularly. I made space to rest, and I allowed myself to feel and process my emotions. And I plan to keep this up for 2025 and beyond. And as I said, this is a lifestyle for me. It's not a trend. This square represents meal planning. Woo child. Again, this is my second woo child. My goal for 2024 was to focus on my gut health, which means I needed to be mindful and intentional about what I ate, what I put into my body, And I've established systems like planning templates and a personal menu. I've invested in cookbooks and educational resources about nutrition. However, despite these efforts, meal planning, grocery shopping, and cooking, they're just things that I don't want to do on a regular basis. Like, I'll get in there every now and then and try a new recipe, put something on YouTube, have my little glass of wine, just, cooking it up. But I don't want to do that every day. I just don't enjoy it. And so this is an area that I definitely struggle in. And, since outsourcing these tasks isn't affordable or feasible for me right now, I need to find ways to make the process more manageable and enjoyable. And also, after experiencing some health issues this year, I need to make some changes and recommit to my gut health in 2025. And so I would like to plan and cook my meals at least 5 days a week, limiting eating out to 1 to 2 days per week. I'm also praying for a blessing, some income generation so that I can afford I can afford it now, but it's just not something that I want to pay for because I got other things that I'd rather pay for than meal planning and cooking and all of that. And so, but should I get a blessing in 2025? We'll be having a different conversation at the end of the year. All right. So this square represents my finances. Being financially healthy and stable is very important to me. And so I set a goal monthly in 2024 to monitor and manage my finances. I got my little tracker and I'm very proud of myself because I really did stay on top of monitoring my finances. Now, I started off being very specific, like down to the dime, the last cent, but then that kind of fell off. It was real tedious. So I need to figure out some kind of way to make that process more efficient for me. I need to write that down because I'm thinking about that right now as I record this video. Anyway, another thing that I was proud of is I got to pay off some debt and increase my savings. And so again, I'm proud of how I manage my finances. I consistently track them. I paid off all of my debt before transitioning out of my full-time job in June. But now I've kind of accumulated a little bit more debt because I'm using my savings and then taking care of things with my credit cards. And so we'll get that back together once I start to offer and promote my services with my education firm. Paying off my debt, that was a significant milestone for me and it felt amazing to achieve it. I reached a credit score of 830 and that's the highest it's ever been. And so in 2025, I also set goals for, like I said, income generation, and I'll just continue to monitor my monthly financial reviews and hopefully I'll find a way to be more efficient with all those numbers. Okay. This square represents becoming a tourist or an ambassador in my own city. I love Memphis, y'all. This city has a very special place in my soul, and as I said last year, I want to learn as much as I can about Memphis and what she has to offer. And so I set a goal in 2024 to attend at least one cultural, political, or social event monthly. And I attended several of these events this year, in 2024, averaging at least one per month. And I plan to do the same thing in 2025. And I want to make a habit of visiting the library weekly or leaving the house to work in a space other than my home office. I've gotten really comfortable here. And so I want to kind of find some co-working spaces and get some things done out in the city. This square represents community service. I value service, especially for youth, hunger and homelessness, and senior citizens. In 2024, I set a goal to do one service event per month, and I completed 10 service events. This goal remains the same in 2025, one event per month at least. And I also would like to volunteer at a neighborhood school, but I'm still working on figuring out what that'll look like for me. This square represents family. Family is super important to me, and I want to make sure that I am spending more quality time with them and creating memories. And my biggest goal for 2024 regarding family was to plan and host our first Juneteenth family reunion and some smaller events throughout the year. We had our family reunion and it was phenomenal. We also did a few other little events throughout the year. Finally, this square represents my relationships with my friends who are like my chosen family, and my goal for 2024 was to just check in more and spend quality time. And I think I did a pretty good job at the beginning of the year, throughout the year. But once I started to get more focused on building car, I just kind of, isolated myself a little bit. But in 2025, the goal is to continue to cultivate those relationships, and I want to focus on spending quality time with my friends. I'm not going to be in my hosting era this year, but when I get to that, that'll kind of be one of the ways that I make sure I'm spending quality time with my friends, hosting things at my house and other places around the city. And then I also in 2025 want to strengthen relationships or friendships that may not have received as much attention in 2024. The morning and evening routine icons remind me that how I start and end my day determines how I experience it, and that I need to consistently follow the routines that I have in place. I definitely have solid morning and evening routines, but following them consistently can be very challenging. And I noticed that when I did stick to my routines consistently, that contributed to my success. And so for 2025, my focus is on following the morning, work, and evening routines that I've established at least during the weekdays. The journal icon represents consistently writing in my metacognition journal to process my thoughts, reflect, and be introspective. My goal for 2024 was to journal every night before I went to sleep. And while I did not quite reach that goal, I have written over 165 journal entries so far. And I'm very proud that I took the time to create this sort of archive of my thoughts and memories, and I plan to continue this practice with even greater consistency in 2025. My goal is to make at least 215 entries. The weights are about getting stronger and decreasing muscle atrophy, and my goal for 2024 was to incorporate strength training twice weekly. And while I didn't do it as consistently as I wanted to, I did make significant progress, especially in the second half of the year. This is another one of those things like hiring a chef, a personal chef. I want to hire a personal trainer to help me strength train. Like I get my cardio through hiking, walking, running. I get my stretching and benefits of yoga through regularly practicing almost every day. And I do my strength training on YouTube. Like I follow the videos. But I would like to one day invest in a personal trainer to help me with that. And I'm just excited, though, to have built this foundation. I'm looking forward to continuing and improving next year. And the goal for 2025 will remain the same, just to lift weights 2 to 3 times per week in 2025 is the goal. Of course, the water bottle is about staying hydrated, and my goal in 2024 was to drink at least 64 ounces of water daily. And let me tell y'all something. Drinking enough water has always been a challenge for me. I just don't enjoy it. It's so boring. And while I drink water daily, I do drink water every day. I know it's not enough to meet my health goals. And so this is an area where I need to push myself to develop better habits, even if it's not my favorite thing to do. So those are the reflections from my 2024 vision board. I've shared some of my goals for 2025. And now I want to talk about what contributed to my success this year. One foundation of my wins this year was just getting very clear about what I wanted to achieve. I defined my goals, visualized the impact that I wanted to make on myself and my community. I outlined the transformations that I wanted to experience in different areas of my life. Knowing exactly where I was and where I wanted to go gave me a strong sense of direction and purpose. And so this vision board I created at the start of the year constantly reminded me of what I was working toward, keeping me focused and motivated. It was the screensaver on all of my devices. And so I was reminded daily to keep my eyes on the prize, even though I sometimes got off track, which is fine. I don't beat myself up about that. Learning to manage my time effectively was another key to my success. I developed a solid system for using Google Calendar for digital planning and time management. And throughout the year, I refined this system, figuring out what worked and what didn't work. And by the second half of the year, especially in the last quarter, I felt confident in my ability to allocate my time strategically. My calendar became very essential for staying on track with tasks aligned to my goals. And in true teacher fashion, I have turned my process into a guide. And so if you want to check it out and become time wealthy in 2025, the link is in the description box. Building systems like daily routines, including my morning and evening routines, also played a crucial role. These routines provided structure and consistency, helping me maximize my productivity and maintain balance. And maintaining my mental and emotional well-being was another key factor in my success, prioritizing rest, making space for reflection, and giving myself permission to feel and process my emotions. Y'all, that is so important. It allowed me to show up fully. Practices like journaling, yoga, and sleep were vital in keeping me grounded and energized throughout the year as well. So those were some of the things that were foundational to my success this year. Being clear about my vision, managing my time effectively, and caring for my mental and emotional health really set me up for success. And so if there are successes, there also are challenges. And one of my biggest challenges was staying focused to the level that I would have liked to. Listen, that little thing that we call distraction, it is real, and it comes in many shapes, many sizes, and many forms. And in 2024, mine came in the form of doom scrolling on social media or watching YouTube when I should have been writing. And it doesn't help that a lot of my work is aligned to social media and YouTube, because I'm constantly on there for work. So it doesn't make it easier to consume less. But that's one of my goals for 2025, is to consume less and create more, because I don't want to eliminate these activities entirely. I enjoy them, and I don't believe in removing things you enjoy unless it's truly detrimental. But for the most part, I believe in moderation. I want to, again, consume less and create more. And I know that planning and sticking to scheduled leisure time will help me do that. Based on what I've accomplished in 2024, I am confident that I can achieve more in 2025 by eliminating distractions, sticking to my routines and systems, and just prioritizing my mental and emotional health. I'm very excited about what 2025 is going to bring. Here is my 2025 vision board, which is basically the same as 2024. I adjusted the goals in some areas, but as I said earlier, these aren't just goals. This board represents the lifestyle that I want to live consistently. And you'll also see that I changed a couple of the pictures, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. Oh, my word for 2025 will be strategic, because I have to be intentional and strategic in order to grow my education firm. And so I invite you to watch my digital calendar weekly planning system video if you want to become time wealthy in 2025. Listen, I'm not just saying that just to get y'all to download it. I really mean it. I spent a lot of time. I spent this whole year and like the last quarter of 2023 just trying to figure out how to manage my time in a way that is fulfilling. And so if that is you, if that is something that you are trying to do, that is something that you want to do, is to just make more of your time in 2025, make your time more meaningful and more fulfilling, then you really should download this guide. I'll link it in the description box. And just let me know if you have any questions or need any support. All right, y'all. Tell me your biggest wins for 2024 and what you are planning for 2025. That is all I got for now. If this video was helpful, please let me know in the comments what resonated with you the most. Thank y'all so much for riding with me. Remember to keep learning, keep taking action, and keep reflecting. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.